track.
Welcome back to the Common Podcast, where we speak upon common sense and realize it really isn't that common. Guys, welcome back. On this conversation, it's going to be a little bit different. I know we've been kind of tackling bullying this month because it is National Bullying Prevention Month. But today we're going to be attacking it from a different, actually the opposite side of the spectrum. But before we get into that, I do want to give a shout out to a brand new YouTube channel that I just launched. So that channel is going to be the first link in the description. It's called Roger Reacts. So if you're interested in some more content, you go ahead and check that out. Also, we're doing this live right now on Twitch. If you're interested, that's going to be the second link in the description. Twitch.tv/Roger Reacts. But anyways, without further ado, I'm going to introduce the host of the second podcast that I do. And I'm pretty sure y'all already know, if you're a regular here, that is Mr. Saul Guido. Welcome, bro. Welcome back.
What's up, bro? How you doing?
I've been good. How's life?
Pretty good. Can't complain. You know, I live in America, so it's hard to not be grateful, right?
Yeah, like Brittany Renner had one of the most rude awakenings to that fact.
Yeah. She was one of like the biggest U.S. haters, right?
Yeah, that's a problem with a lot of these people. Like, they talk about how crappy United States is, and then I'm just glad that she got, I guess, what was coming to her.
What was coming to her?
Well, not what was coming to her, but like she got
an awakening.
Yeah, she got an awakening. Like, I mean, a lot of people don't realize that they live in a great country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just don't understand people that shit on a country that you live in. You know, because you could, especially people that are in the position to be able to move somewhere else.
Exactly.
Like she has a bunch of money. If she really didn't like the U.S., she could move to whatever country she wanted to, but she obviously doesn't.
Yeah, that's
now
the
she's
thing.
in a jail cell.
Yeah, it's like, if you don't like living here, why don't you just move? But people don't, and it's obvious, right? You got the freedom of speech, so you want to talk crap about it, but yeah, whatever. Because in other countries, you won't even have that freedom to talk bad about your country. Here we do. Mm-hmm. But anyways, that's like totally off topic.
I know.
So we've been talking about basically how to prevent bullying and anti-bullying, and kind of in that realm, we kind of cover about trying to make everybody inclusive, because that's what kind of bullying is. It's like excluding people, I guess, or making people feel excluded, making people feel lesser than. But I want to talk about the opposite side of that, and how it can be dangerous to be on the opposite side of that, because you can fall into victimhood. And I've talked about victimhood a lot on this podcast, but I saw a video today on social media where this guy's holding up this sign, and the sign says, "I have anxiety and depression. I just need somebody to talk to." And everybody just walking past him. Like, nobody wants to conversate with him. Nobody wants to give him a helping hand. And he does that for a couple of hours, and he flips the sign over and it says, "Free money." Right? And everybody's quick to grab the money. It's like $100 bills taped to the board. And everybody's grabbing the money, and then they just take off. And at the end of the video, he says, moral of the story is, nobody wants you unless you have something for them. Either way, they're still not willing to talk to you. Now, I'm not sure if this guy was making that video to prove a point or just to get views, because obviously that's something that people are going to get views on, right? But if he's serious about this video and he actually if he actually believes what he's trying to, get across, I think that's a terrible message. I think that's people falling into victimhood and people feeling like they should be validated, or they should have they're more, how can I word this? They feel like people should care about them for absolutely nothing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like they feel like because they have issues that other people should kind of tend to them and give them the attention that they I guess, need because they're down, which makes no sense to me.
Well, it's not even just that, but it's more of like these like people have this ideology of people only want you if you have something to offer them. And they seem to have
Yeah.
a problem with that. But for me personally, I feel like that is the correct way to for life to be assessed. What do you think about that? If you understand what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, I mean, that's life. That's in everything you do, you know? At least for me, I only keep people around me that benefit me mutually. And you know this, I don't really have friends. Not because I don't, people don't like me or anything, but it's because I keep people at a distance because a lot of people just are super not don't really give what what I give. And so yeah, that's why I don't really have friends. But yeah, I mean, why would somebody feel obligated to tend to your needs just because you have anxiety and depression? That makes no fucking
Or
sense.
or just because you exist, right? Like that's what people feel like, "Oh, I'm a person. So you should make me feel included."
Yeah, so this guy wanted people to go out of their way to talk to him about his issues, or what? Or
Yeah,
what was the point?
that was the moral of what was going on with the video. Is that he wanted to see how many people were going to be willing to take time and energy out of their day to help out somebody in need.
Hmm. Yeah, that's dumb. Especially because he's gonna do the opposite and flip it around and give money.
Yeah.
That's like the. Of course, people are gonna take it.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like I'm not against compassion, right? Like if somebody were to go up to him and help him out, like great. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, right? But what I'm saying is people feeling entitled to that, I don't think that's correct either. I think that you should be able to provide to society and the people around you something, like something of true substance, something that matters. And I was talking about it on the stream earlier about how you should always build bridges with people that know certain things. That way they can help you out, help you grow. And then that's kind of how society works, right? It's like, okay, that guy, he's a very good mechanic. He has something to offer me, right? So when I need something wrong with my car, I go to him, right? This guy's a lawyer. Whenever I get into some legal trouble, I know to go to him, right? This is kind of the way society is supposed to work. Like everybody should be able to provide something to each other, right? And I guess what people in a lot of the weaker part of society have trouble with is they don't really want to put the work in to provide anything, but they still want the glorification of it.
Yeah, I mean that goes back to like way back in the day, before we even had money. We used to barter, and like if you were I don't know, a shoemaker, right? You would trade your shoes for some bread at the bakery, right? Instead of money. So it was always about what can you give me and what can I give you. And even back in the day when people had no value to them, even when there was money around, they would when they were just kind of draining the community of their resources because things were so scarce back then, they would actually kill them. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
Like they would just you're just eating everything, you're not providing anything, you're dead. That's it. And so that's been rooted in us for a very long time. And so that now that we're kind of more in a blessed position, I guess people feel like they don't need to provide anything to get stuff, which is ridiculous.
100%. Yeah. Back then, if you were a liability in any sense, either you would get kicked out or you would be killed. And
Yeah.
I feel like in the state that we are in our country, like we're extremely egalitarian, we're extremely advanced, that we feel entitled to all the benefits, but do not want to do all the work in order to acquire those benefits.
Yeah, I
Right?
agree, man.
Like,
Yeah. And
I don't,
so, why do you think this guy made that video? Do you think it was more so for the views or to prove a point? Because if from what you describe it, I'm pretty sure this guy's smart enough to know that this is something that's going to get views. And so I feel like it was a dumb thing done for views yet again. That's kind of the the culture we live in now. Is it's all about the clicks.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm I know it's sad to say because even though that's kind of manipulative, I hope that that was strategically done, and
for
that's
views.
yeah, and not something that he believes.
Yeah.
Even though that's still bad in itself, right? Because then you're still convincing other people that that's a way to think. But here's a problem too: is that a lot of people don't even think that deep. Like when I was watching that video, that was going in my head. A lot of people probably look at it at the surface level and it's like, yeah, people are shitty and they don't want to help each other out. Like we should be more compassionate. Boom. Right. And then in their mind, they're probably thinking, who would go against that message? But they're forgetting all the underlining stuff that maybe that person hasn't provided, or maybe that person isn't trying, or maybe that person dug himself in, right?
Yeah.
And has put himself in that position. And it's not up to everyone else to bring him out of a position that he put himself in.
Yeah, especially strangers, right? If you're out in public doing that, like it would make more sense for your family to help you out with those issues, right? Because they care about you, they know you, they've invested in you, you've invested in them. It's that's the type of people he should be trying to get their attention, not random people and be like, look at me, I need help. I'm sad and anxious. Like, no, bro. Like you need to do that with your family, not with strangers. Of course, strangers are just gonna walk by looking at you weird. What do you
Yeah.
expect? That's obvious.
And who wouldn't take free money? It's like obviously it was like a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
strategically done video and well thought through.
So if you look at it on the surface, like when you first told me about this video, I was kind of like, yes, that's messed up, man. No one wants to talk to someone that's down on their luck, like, but they're willing to take money from them. But it's when you think about it and truly examine the situation and what he's doing and what he expects to happen, it just doesn't make sense. Like that outcome's not gonna happen, bro. Like I don't care who you are, unless you're a beautiful girl holding
Yeah.
up that sign, then maybe, right? But other than that, like it's very obvious he wasn't gonna get any help for
Yeah.
sure.
I remember quite some time back, this guy put on Facebook, maybe 2 3 years ago. He put on Facebook, people only want me when I have something to offer them. Where are people now when I really need the help? And I commented, and this was somebody that I didn't really know. It's kind of like a friend of a friend of a friend. He just added me on Facebook. And I commented, I was just like, yeah, that's kind of how it works. Why would people, basically what I'm saying here, why would people want to be around you if you have nothing to offer? So many people got pissed at that message. And apparently this guy had a lot of people behind him. And I guess that made him feel better, right? That people were coming to his aid and coming at me at the comment section. And I remember the pastor of the church I was going to at the time even came out to me. He's like, hey, like, you really shouldn't be commenting that. I'm like, what are you talking about? Right? Like, I'm not gonna support a weak mindset like that. Like this guy is obviously feeling sorry for himself. He wants other people to feel sorry for himself. Like I'm not gonna maybe I shouldn't commented, but I'm not gonna like keep egging that on. I'm not gonna like support that woeism that he's trying to, create for himself. But yeah, I just, to me, it just doesn't make sense. I think like I say a lot on the podcast, I think there's a balance, right? Like I do believe in compassion. I do believe like in helping other people out when they're in need, regardless if they're in your family or not. But I do think there is a sense of responsibility for the person going through something to dig themselves out, because if they don't know the process of digging themselves out, they'll just fall right back in.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
It's like that quote that I had wrote quite a bit of time ago that I explained to you in the podcast, where I tweeted out saying that if you don't know the cost of, I forgot. I'm not even going to mention it. I mentioned it in another podcast.
It was an original quote, or what? Or
Yeah,
did you take it?
Yeah, it was an original quote, but I tweeted it out. I have to go back, and I really don't want to do that right now.
Yeah, man. I feel like this is something that a lot of people probably disagree with us on. Like I feel like nowadays people expect people to help each other just because they're down on their luck and stuff, which is cool, right? There's nothing wrong with that, like you said, but you can't expect it is the thing that I'm against. Like you can't be like, wow, I'm holding this sign up and no one wants to help me. Well, you can't expect that, bro. Like people have their own lives, their own issues, their own people close to them that are going through the same thing. Like why would they help you and not them? So you can't just assume that everyone's going to stop what they're doing and come to your aid. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I had a family member that felt very entitled to people's aid, and whenever she wouldn't get her way, she would get mad, like just like, how could you not help me in a time of need? Y'all are pathetic and blah blah blah. And she ended up running a lot of people out of her life because of it, right? It's like, I did this, and this for you, and now you can't help me. That's another thing, right? Like doing something with the expectation of wanting something in return is another kind of bitterness, another kind of just nasty person, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't do stuff expecting it back, but you should get it back, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. I believe in the law of abundance, and treating
what law is that?
Law of abundance is basically the golden rule, which is treat others the way you would want to be treated, because eventually it'll come back to you. But to do it without expecting it in return immediately, right? So if you're a very generous person and you naturally like to help other people out, people are going to like you. And they're going to want to help you out eventually, right? And they're going to want to provide services to you. And again, going back to what I said in the beginning, this is how you build those bridges, right? If you're a very people person and you make a lot of friends, well, guess what? That's the law of abundance. Like you give abundance to other, and then eventually you will live an abundant life. Mm-hmm. That's what a law of abundance is.
That's interesting. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
It's kind of well, it's not similar, but have you heard of the law of attraction?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you believe in that or no?
100%. You attract. Yeah. You attract it.
What you put out there.
Yeah. The energy you put out is the energy you're gonna get back. On some Sam Petroli stuff.
I don't know. I don't know if I believe in that. I'm not too sure.
Like it's not 100%, but majority, like the energy that you put out. So for instance, if you're a bitter guy, always pissed off, then nobody's going to want to be around you. Like that, like you're just going to get bitter. That makes sense. You're going to get bitter back, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you're a friendly person, love and kind, you're going to receive that back. Now, not all of it, right? You're going to get some shitty people, but majority of it is people that when they're around you, they're going to be upbeat and happy.
Yeah, that makes sense, 100%. But when I think of those things, I categorize them in the same category as like astrology type of stuff, if that makes sense. Because it's like usually those people that are into astrology are also into karma and the law of attraction and stuff like that. So it kind of devalues it for me because of the astrology shit, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Because that person also believes in that. So I'm like, fuck. Like, I can't really, take this.
There's a lot of people that believe in astrology that are full of crap. Like, not all of them, but there are some people that just like are super generic and they believe in all like the crazy, like cringy stuff. And the whole karma thing. Karma, I believe, is real too, but it's not the way these astrologers make it out to be. Right? Yeah. It's kind of see the karma, the law of attraction, law of abundance, they all kind of work together. And the karma thing is, it's not when someone does something to you, you do something back to them, that's karma. No. Karma's not self-inflicted. Karma happens on its own. But it's kind of like the law of attraction, where if people treat you like crap, they're eventually going to get that back because that's just in their nature. Right?
Yeah.
So it's that ties in with memento mori, which is a quote that I told you. I told you this on another podcast. Memento mori.
Memento mori.
Yeah, it means
living. Is that the guy from The Pickle?
No, I don't even know what you're talking
Morty?
about. No.
Oh.
The quote means to live in the moment, to let things go, because whatever is coming to them will eventually catch up to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when something bad happens to you,
do you see that in your own life? Like, do you see that pattern in your own life?
yep.
You've seen karma happen, and like you're like, whoa, that person got that.
Yeah. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I have this particular person that really does not like me, right? And she has it out for me. I've never even told you this, by the way, even on a personal level. She has it out for me, but she follows me on everything, right?
Uh-huh.
And she will literally send, because I have somebody that is a mutual friend of hers that is also one of my friends. And this person tells me that she will literally send some of my stuff, like that I post on social media, and then talk crap about it. Like, you know, I post a podcast clip, talk crap about it, say I'm a hypocrite, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, and when this person tells me, I'm like, that's okay. This person has a lot of issues going on in their life. I know it because the mutual friend tells me this person's going to therapy. They have a lot of insecurities, and I'm like, listen, I'm in a great place. I don't need to be surrounding myself with the negativity that you're trying to tell me this person is having on me. All that negativity that they're trying to project on me, they're gonna receive it back, and that's what they're like. That's what they do. Like they're struggling right now with mental health, and so.
Yeah, bro. I mean, that's something that I've been trying to implement more. Is like, obviously, that upsets you, right, when you first hear that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what I try to think about is, what's the worst like outcome of this situation? Like, this person has negative thoughts about me.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like,
Yeah.
that's all that happens. Yeah, that kind of bothers me. But why do I let it bother me? It's just their thoughts. I don't have control over that.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to dislike me, they're gonna do it. You know what I mean? If they want to hate on me, they're gonna do it. So once you realize that there's not really anything you can do, and it doesn't really affect you, like, unless you let it, right? Like, what their thoughts have no power over what you do.
Yep.
So it makes no sense to let it change your course, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, I'm proud of you for not letting that bug you, because I know the old you would have been really upset and kind of wanted to have a conversation about it and defend yourself, and that's all ego, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of learn to let go of the ego and to kind of accept that not everything's in your control. You know,
Yeah.
you and I have talked about that a lot,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you gotta just live your life, bro, and keep doing what you do. You can't let the hate get to you.
Facts, bro. Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
How do we end up here from the sign?
Everything connects, bro. We always get into these introspect conversations. This always happens. We talk about something so simple, like something so surface level, and you start to dig in deep to it. Like, you eventually just start talking about life and how deep it is. That's just the way it works.
So I find it crazy though how many people don't think like us, because I find myself arguing with people all the time, and I'm just like, man, like, how do you not see what I see, you know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of frustrating, because I feel like I'm right, you know, but obviously they feel like they're right too.
Yeah.
So it's just it's crazy. And then there's people that obviously agree with you and kind of comfort you and be like, no, dude, you're right. But I think it's just interesting how there's so many sides and perspectives to everything in life. Everything.
Yeah.
Nothing is white and black. Nothing.
Or black and white.
Apparently not even never mind, I'm not gonna say that.
What were you gonna say?
Nah, nothing.
Lazardi says in the chat, bro, everybody my age thinks differently, and it's gonna get like that too, right? Because of this whole inclusive era that's coming up, and you know, everybody is trying to just let everybody live their own lives. Which, on the surface level, why does that sound bad, right? That's another thing that I don't even want to go down through. But I kind of wanted to go back into, you were talking about how, like, when you mentioned, like, oh, what does this person making these negative comments going to do to me? Nothing, right? It's a very realistic way of thinking. Like, you're a realist, right? But that's part of your temperament. You've always kind of been that way. A lot of people don't think that way. I think the exact same way, but even more so, whenever I'm caught in a very in a sucky situation, I always think first thing is, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst scenario? And if I can deal with the worst scenario, it doesn't matter.
And you'll be fine.
Yeah. Everything's going to be fine.
Bro, yes, that's exactly how I live my life now, bro, because you know me better than I would say anyone, right? So you know how in my shell introverted person I am. I'm a very to myself person, right?
Yeah.
And so how I started getting out of my shell is I would say exactly what you said to myself. I'd be like, I don't want to do this. It scares me, right? And I'm like, okay, well, why does it scare me? Like, what's the worst possible outcome that could happen? And then in my head, I think of it, and I'm like, damn, even that's not bad. Like, it's gonna suck, but it's just a discomfort for a little while that's really insignificant.
Yeah.
And if I could deal with that, then I'll be fine. And so I find myself doing things a lot more than I would never otherwise have done, because the outcomes aren't as bad as people think they will be at all. You know? That's why I'm willing to go bungee jumping with you now.
Hey, I didn't know about that.
No, I'm not doing that shit.
No, yeah, bro, but it's super interesting, and I think that's a very helpful thing. But then people will call you real negative. There's a different word for it. Pessimistic, right? People will call you, oh, you're just pessimistic. You lack faith, you lack belief. It's like, no, I'm just thinking of it in a realistically sense way.
Yeah.
Like, there's people that prepare for the worst, and there's people that prepare for the best.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, because I'm a realist, the people that prepare themselves for the best are setting themselves up for failure, because comparison. Yeah, comparison is a thief of joy, and what you're doing is you're comparing your expectations to the real life, and you're going to be let down. As opposed to the other side, the realists, they think of the worst case scenario, and then there's only one way here: up.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But the problem with that is that they may not ever unlock their full potential because they don't have enough faith to carry them further. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
That's true. I think there's an important way to try to balance both perspectives and think of the good and the negative, and kind of weigh it and see where you land on that. You know.
Yeah.
I think there's benefits to both point of views for sure.
Yeah. I think this was a very great, unexpected conversation.
I hope so.
Yeah. Anyways, bro, I think we're going to close it off. We're about 28 minutes, which is longer than what we wanted to do here today.
Oh, damn. Yeah, that's not bad. I thought we were at 20 right now.
Yeah. No, man. But anyways, let the people know what you do and then where they can find you.
Yes. So I have you guys know by now. I have a second podcast, my first and only podcast with Roger. It's called The Outlier Podcast. It's on YouTube only currently. I'm pretty sure he's going to link me in the description. So go ahead and sub and comment a would you rather, because we're in need of those every single week. So make sure you do that, and drop a like if you can. Fuck it. That's it.
Yeah, guys, he uploads every Saturday. You can check it out. As you all know, we upload here, the Common Podcast, every Friday. So once you're done watching mine, the next day, be ready for the Outlier Podcast. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. Like I said in the beginning of the video, new channel just launched, and I'm very excited for all the content that's coming out there. Going to be uploading about 2, maybe even 3 times a week. So go check it out if you're interested. But anyways, we'll catch you all in the next episode. Until later, peace.
On the track.